Check is proudly brought to you by First Capital Bank. Belief comes first.
Good morning, Dr. B.
Good morning, Joe. How's you?
I'm good. I am a little bit all over the place, but I'm I'm looking forward to this conversation on dementia.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about things that are going to do with the brain and the brain aging or the brain-food connection. You know, it's such an important subject. I mean, people are scatterbrained, people are depressed, people are stressed, people get jittery, and it's actually people don't appreciate that the importance of the food-gut connection. And, you know, for decades, we as doctors have recommended, you know, dietary management as part of therapy for diabetes and blood pressure and cholesterol. Yes. And, you know, to date, until very recently, there have been no such recommendations that exist for brain aging and dementia. And, in fact, many scientists and non-scientists are reluctant to believe that our food choices might have something to do with the way our brains age. But increasingly, we're beginning to understand, little by little, scientists are coming to appreciate the powerful connection between the foods we eat and our brain health. And this revelation has really fostered a fast-growing body of evidence showing that we might very well be eating our way to dementia. And this is the issue that I want to talk about, because a lot of us have elderly at home or out in the village, and as they age, you notice that, you know, their focus, their concentration, their ability to recognize, and it becomes, you know, not only an issue in terms of care, but also, you know, you may need to employ a helper. You're worried about your granddad or grandmom going out alone, and this brain aging is what is the focus today. And we've begun to realize that the quality of food that we eat has dramatically diminished. You know, some of the foods that some of the animals, for example, are routinely fed antibiotics, you know, the wrong type of foods, food growth hormones, you know. We talk about the whole GMO issue, and in turn we ingest that. And I always teach students that, you know, you are what you eat. Yes. So what you eat is what you are. In other words, if that livestock ate grass that had insecticide and pesticide and fungicide, it's going to get into that meat and you're going to consume that. So you are what you ate. It goes down a generation, and we're beginning to realize that, you know, conventionally raised produce is showered in pesticides and chemical fertilizers, in addition to being toxic and depleting our soils. This is beginning to show that it's actually going into your system. Now, I just want to talk about very briefly the structure of the brain. Right. The brain zoo is probably 70% fat. You know, people don't appreciate that. So therefore, the quality of the fat that you eat that goes up to make the structure of your brain determines how good your brain is. So if you're eating the wrong type of fat, and the wrong type of fat, in one word, are things that are manufactured in a factory. We're talking about sunflower oil, canola oil, soya oil. These are oils that are actually chemically broken down in a factory, to which they add lots of chemistry to make it look like golden color. But if you look at, for example, sunflower seed when it's ground down into a gray paste, then they add a lot of colors. So what you see on the supermarket is actually a lot of chemistry, and that chemistry gets into your system, and they are powerful oxidizing agents. And we know that the brain inflammation, which causes dementia and Alzheimer's, is an inflammatory condition. We know that these fats get into your system and cause a lot of inflammation, not only to your heart and to your circulation, but also to your brain. So these cellular reactions are the things that we know are important. And therefore, it's important to understand. Look at where you're getting the source of your stuff. If you're getting, for example, we know that blueberries are packed with antioxidants that may delay brain aging. We know that dark chocolate contains what we call flavonoids, which are antioxidants, and research suggests that these may actually also help. We know that fish, particularly sardines, contain the right oils. The right oils are things that God made. I'm talking about, you know, butter. I'm talking about olive oil. I'm talking about coconut oil. These are the natural oils that exist in nature that have been here for, you know, for thousands of years, and we've been consuming them. Avocados, you know, is a source of healthful unsaturated fats and supports brain function. You know, eggs. People think, you know, am I eating too many eggs? You are never eating too many eggs. And people used to have these in some restaurants, eggs. What you call them? That the eggs of the yolks are removed. The yolk is actually one of the most powerful ingredients in yolk is something called choline. Choline is a chemical that is responsible for memory. And the drug industry has tried to develop drugs that improve choline in your brain. They've failed. And a natural way is actually to eat more eggs.
Wait, Dr. Bhagat, Did you just say that the egg produces the chemical called codeine?
Absolutely, choline, not codeine.
Wow.
Choline.
Oh, I was like, what? In my ears. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be... Okay.
Codeine is manufactured. Codeine is an artificial form of morphine. But choline spelled CHOLINE.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's very powerful in terms of brain function. Another one that's very good is actually broccoli. Broccoli contains a number of compounds that give it anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, and actually have been found not only to help the brain but also reduce cancer. Leafy greens, things that we can eat. Your spinach, your kale, your morojo, your rocket, all these things contain large quantities of vitamin K, lutein, folate, beta-carotene, all very powerful in terms of helping our brain. So there are lots of things that are there that are natural that we grow in our own soil. Yes. Turmeric is another one. Turmeric is a very powerful antioxidant. It eases depression. It boosts serotonin. Green tea has been found to have a good component of brain healthy chemicals, such as L-theanine. I could go on and on. Fish, sardines, chia seeds.
Omega-3,
pumpkin seeds, exactly, omega-3. Chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, sardines. You can get all this stuff here. And it's sort of reaching for the shelves where the things that cause the most toxicity to the brain are sugar.
Yes.
We've talked about this, and it just seems like we keep repeating ourselves every week, but sugar has been found to actually cause huge damage to the brain. It causes craving in the brain. It causes inflammation in the brain. And so anything that contains sugar, which is processed too, you're talking about your bread and your rice and your palachi and your chips. This is packed with sugar. So avoid those things. And it's really important in terms of healthy fats. Fish, nuts, broken down to, as you say, omega-3, make your neurons in your brain flexible and more responsible, at the same time supporting immune function and shielding you from brain damage. So our brains are literally what we eat.
Okay. Well, Dr. B, we're running, we have just about 50 seconds, and I just wanted to ask you, let us know about how it runs in families and stuff, because I know that my family has a history of dementia. Not too sure about Alzheimer's, but I know dementia. My great-grandmother had it, and, I can already pick up signs from my grandmother. How early can it come, and, does it run in family?
That's an actually fantastic question, Sue. And in brief, dementia starts, if you get dementia at the age of 70, it has started 20 years before. And we now know that brain imaging and even certain genetic tests, which can be done in Botswana, can actually identify if you are at risk. Now, some people don't want to know, but I want to know. And if there's a history of, like breast cancer, if there's a history of dementia in your family, there are things you can do. But we always come back to the issue, Sue, that if you are at risk, if, for example, a blood test shows that you're at risk, do the things in your environment that control that risk. So don't eat those crappy foods. Don't take alcohol in excess. Don't smoke. Exercise. Lose weight. Sleep well. Eat the right foods to try and minimize the impact of your genes. You can't change your genes, and you can't change the environment in which those genes operate.
All right. Well, Dr. B, would you like to let the listener know what they're listening to next week, as well as where they can get more information on Alzheimer's and dementia?
They can get a lot of information on our website, on the Heart Foundation of Botswana. We've talked a lot about dementia as something that is preventable, that is manageable with the right lifestyle. So just go to the Heart Foundation of Botswana Facebook site and like us, and we'll certainly allow you into doors of lots of interest. In terms of what was your other question?
No, it was just where they can find you and how much more information they can get, yes.
Yeah, and next week we're going to be talking about a sensitive topic, which is care of the dying. It's called palliative care. When you know somebody's terminal, how do you manage them? What does the caregiver do? How do you manage pain? How do you manage sorrow? How do you manage anxiety? It's something that's been coming through on our question and answer. And I've been reluctant to talk about it because I've needed to engage some palliative care people. So we'll talk about palliative care or palliation next week.
All right. Thanks, Dr. B. I can't wait to talk about it next week.
Take care.
Have a great Sunday.
Bye.
Alrighty, and that's how we wrap up the Health Check with Dr. Bhagat and A House of Zoo, sponsored by First Capital Bank.
Health Check was proudly brought to you by First Capital Bank. Belief comes first.